Are you studying the chemical elements or the periodic table with ages 10 to 16? If so, here's a resource that you might find very helpful. The Chemical Elements Coloring and Activity Book by Ellen Johnston McHenry. We start out with an explanation of what an atom is and how atoms can stick together to form molecules. And then some terms are defined so that when you meet them later in the book, you'll know what they are. For example, what is atomic mass? What is an isotope? What is a neutron? What is an alpha particle? What is radioactivity? And then there is a short history of how we discovered the elements, and an explanation of who invented the periodic table and how that came about. And then you have your own periodic table to color and some suggestions about colors for the groups or the families on the table. And then, of course, there's coloring pages. The pictures are age appropriate and show various ways that this element is used or various natural compounds where we find these elements. On the facing side of the page, we have a few paragraphs of information about the element. Generally speaking, students in this age group aren't interested in boiling points and densities and things like that. So the information is just what they want to know. Where the element is found in the crust of the earth or maybe in the atmosphere, who discovered it, and what it's good for, and do our bodies need it. And below the information, there's some pictures of well-known molecules that contain that element. When we get to the higher elements, there's less information just because there's simply less information. These elements are artificial. They're made in a lab, and they often exist for only a few seconds or a minute, so there's just less to say about them. But you can find out who they're named after and where they were made. Then there's some word puzzles, like crossword puzzles, a who am I, some riddles. And then there's some activity ideas that work very well in a classroom, but can also be played at home. There's even patterns for playing cards that you can copy onto cardstock and laminate to keep for permanent use. You might want to start out by having the students arrange these into a giant periodic table, and then you can use some of the questions in the back and the provided question bank to play guessing games about the elements. You can find this book at just about any online bookseller. Bulk or retail orders can be ordered from ingramcontentgroup.com.